Hello, BookTube. This is bookshelf tour number 4. Um, Again, I've taken the books off the shelf. It's the shelf, right, well, you can't really see it. The chair is in the way. It's exactly behind me and hidden. And I have a glow going on here from a light, from a window over there. But we'll take the sunshine. It's snow on the way. But that's neither here nor there. The shelf is all Easton Press, and it's all history and American history. So on these shelves I'm starting my tours with, they're Easton Press, Folio Society, that type of thing. And they're not housed with volumes by subject throughout the house. So American history is upstairs in the house. So these are not there, obviously, and I'm just going to get right through them. Now, these, I like to tell you if I haven't read something. I don't know if I always remember to, but I'm the type who likes to have books in my house I haven't read, so I've got something to read. I also like to keep books I have read, especially when it's like this, these collectibles or these history books where I go back to them. So this one is Paul Revere's Ride by David Hackett Fisher. Wonderful history. I only read this a few years ago, although I've read him before. Easton Press, obviously, like I said, all of these will be, so I'm not going to repeat it every time and bore you to death. Copyright's 1994. Let's get something in it. Oh, here's a postcard of Paul Revere's house in Boston. What would come with these are these collector's notes, the leather-bound library military history. And they look like this, sort of handy to have. And in this case, they have a map here showing news from Lexington. And this is a really detailed, wonderful study on American Revolution, Paul Revere's Ride, Lexington conquered, and all that. Fight at Concord. Very detailed, but very well written, readable. I can't recommend it enough. And it's nice that I read it not so long ago. It's very fresh in my mind. So there's that one. Let's see here. What do we got next here? Okay, The War of American Independence by Don Higginbotham. Beautiful thing. Again, part of this leather-bound history of a military history, the War of American Independence, military attitudes, policies, and practices, 1763 to 1789. It's got one of these book plates. So there's sort of, and these all have ribbon markers and all that. Here's the collector's notes here. A map. These, I was buying them over a period of time at up in Queechee, Vermont, at a it's like one of those places that has booths and stuff where people resell things, antiques and collectibles and all that. We used to go up there with Steve Donahue and Frida Bean, and while we were doing that, I picked these up. So this is really good. Not quite as engaging in this case as the Fisher one, but very good. And then this last of these little group here is Decisive Day, the Battle for Bunker Hill. Now this is another one that was just fantastic. So Robert M. Ketchum, The Decisive Day, the Battle for Bunker Hill, an expanded and fully illustrated edition of the Battle for Bunker Hill. And here's Bunker Hill Monument. I have this thing about postcards in these few. I don't know why, but so again, a detailed study and just a really wonderful read. Let's stick that back in there. Slide these out of the way. Now this next set is a mixed bag. So I'm not a great. I love American Revolution, French Indian War, reading about them. Civil War, not so much. Civil War. I feel like a lot of the historians are apologists for stuff I'm not a big fan of, and I'm from the North, and I had ancestors who fought for the North in the war. And sometimes I think there are Southern apologists that work in some of the volumes, and they seem to focus on Civil War a lot, because even though obviously both sides fought that war, the fixation on the war sometimes, just some of the stuff I've read hits me wrong. I know not everybody's going to really love to hear me say that, but some Civil War books are fantastic. So I've never really jumped in because they do irritate me sometimes. But this set, it's a very nice set, and I don't think it's the whole set. It may be. I'll get to some of the volumes. I'll tell you that I would be shaky about. So this one is To the Gates of Richmond. You see, they're very pretty. Again, Easton Press. I picked these up as a group just because I want to read more Civil War to get past my own little issues with it. So this came out in 1992. Let me just... These things all have a beautiful illustrated painting by Mort Kunstler, but for some reason in each of them they're hard to, because of how they're bound in, sometimes hard to deal with. So this is by Stephen W. Sears, To the Gates of Richmond, the Peninsular Campaign, and there's I'm going to just do it like this, maybe this will just work. So the illustrations are wonderful. On all of them with the painting in the frontispiece. And then, in this case, it's very well done. Usually you have pretty decent maps. I just went by one. Seems to be a theme of these bookshelf tours, me finding a map when I say I saw one. Yeah, here it comes. And these can be very handy on these. So, good to have. So there's the first one. It's a Battle of Bull Run by Davis. So you can see how they look. Again, these little... So, like I say, I picked them up as a group. And again, the painting. Quite nice, the paintings. Battle of Bull Run, a history of the first major campaign of the Civil War. And this was originally 1977. So very few of these I've read. I'll tell you in this group if I've read it. And then this is The Web of Victory by Myers. And we'll see. I mean, I've read a lot of Bruce Catton, James McPherson, stuff like that for the Civil War, and enjoyed it. But I've read some real wonky stuff, too. So this is The Web of Victory, Grant at Vicksburg, Earl Schenck Myers. And this one actually I think is the one I'm planning on reading soon. So they got these silk ribbon markers here. You can see it right there. Page markers. And this is Mighty Stonewall by Frank E. Vandiver. And this came out, let's see, this came out in 1957. And it's in memory of Douglas Southall Freeman, who Civil War buffs will know who that is. So I don't know the reputation of this particular volume, so I will have to find out. We have plenty of Civil War buffs on BookTube that can help me out and let me know what I'm getting into. So these next two, I've read part of. just out of curiosity. I've heard of the books. So this one is The Life of Billy Yank, which was actually second. So I should have done them in the other order. I believe they were 1952. Like I say, sometimes getting these paintings so you can see them are a bit of a job. There you go, quite nice. So, Life of Billy Yank, the common soldier of the Union, Bell Irvin Wiley. And this came out in 1952, so we'll see if I'm right about the order. And it's all about the life of the soldiers, right? Using diaries and all sorts of stuff, and artwork. So this is the life of Johnny Reb. So we'll see how that, yeah, 1943. And again, we'll try to get to the painting, which is going to be a challenge through every one of these. That's quite nice, actually. Men of Valor by Mort Kunstler. So this is The Life of Johnny Reb, the common soldier of the Confederacy by Bell Irvin Wiley. Still a lot of these to go. So I say, you know, we'd go up to Queechee, and there was a guy who was selling, he does little lead figurines of soldiers, and yeah, all sort of military collectibles, but these impress he had, and he wasn't charging that much for them. So you grab them when you can, I guess. And so Chancellor Bill by 1863. No, I've not read this. Again, I'm going to struggle with the painting. I like the paintings, but boy, you have to work to see them. This came out in 1992. And that's by Ernest B. Ferguson. Chancellorsville, 1863, The Soul of the Brave. And this one, this would be the type of thing where I have a problem with it, right? And I would probably find it just very frustrating to read. I know it's an apology, right? Not in I'm sorry, but apology like you would use in, say, theology, that type of thing. So this is, so in other words, how would I want to put that? It's a defense. Yeah, right? That's what it means. So this is A Rise and Fall of the Confederate Government by Davis. A 2-volume thing. So if I can get the doggone thing open. There he is, Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederacy. So this is Rise and Fall of the Confederate Government by Jefferson Davis. And he wrote this after he got out of prison. They had to do it in 2 volumes because he had a lot to say, I guess. There's even a lot of people in the South who aren't big fans, but let me get that painting out again. Same one. They use the same one in both. So this is just volume 2 of The Rise and Fall of the Confederate Government. And I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me I'm wrong and it's worth reading. And if that's so, let me know. So this is Partners in Command. And this is from 1994. The painting's from 95. And this is the relations between Partners in Command, the relationships between leaders in the Civil War by Joseph Glathar. And again, one I have not read. This one sounds interesting. Uh, so Lee, Jackson, Lincoln, McClellan, Davis, Johnston, Grant, and Sherman, Grant, Sherman, Porter, Lincoln, Grant, and that's it. So doing some studies of the relationship. That one I would like to read. This one's Fiasco at Fredericksburg. A thin thing compared to all the other ones, which is not a bad thing. And this again is a more Chancellor painting. It's by Fiasco at Fredericksburg by Warren E. Wan, W-H-A-N, Jr. 1995 for the painting. So, plenty of maps. I know that. Yeah. It's sort of one of the things with these war books, right? Only a few more to go, and then we'll have a different series. This is the Gleam of Baynes by Murfin. Try to get the painting, and try not to forget these because they are interesting. The Gleam of Baynes, the Battle of Antietam, and the Maryland Campaign by James V. Murfin. What's that? That's Raise the Colors and Follow Me. Okay, and this is from 1965. Don't know much about this one either. Maybe if somebody who has read it could drop me a comment and let me know. Then here's a biography of Jefferson Davis. I did read the intro on this because when I was looking at Davis's own works on the rise and fall of the Confederacy, it did seem like in the introduction that the author was talking about why it's been so difficult to write a biography about Jefferson Davis and why he thinks it shouldn't be so difficult. This is a big old thing. 1991 on this. I don't know. I might be willing to go in on and give this one some attention. Just because I enjoyed the introduction. And then this one here, I will definitely read. I've actually read parts of this, big chunks of this before. This is the Memoirs of General William Tecumseh Sherman. By himself, 2 volumes complete in one. So you'll have stuff on the Atlanta campaign. Letters, things like that. So this I've actually read chunks of. And then to finish up here is actually a biography of Sherman. Also got these at Queechee. So Sherman, Fighting Prophet, by Lloyd Lewis, Volume 1, Eastern Press. And these don't have those more Chancellor paintings in them, but very nice anyway. This is copyright 1932 by Lloyd Lewis. And there's Sherman. So I've read chunks of Sherman's own memoirs, chunks of Grant's own memoirs. Most of these books I have not read. A few stand out as go-to. So here's Volume 2. This actually I have not read, but would like to get to this one fairly soon too. up my game a little in the Civil War stuff. I just finished some Bruce Catton. McPherson's Battle Cry of Freedom I did a couple years ago. So there's a lot of the Civil War stuff I'm not up to date on. Like I said, mostly Revolutionary War, French and Indian War, World War II. So I would say that I haven't read a lot about World War One. I've read probably a fair number of books, but not like somebody who's really proficient at it. I guess I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. So this is mostly books I have not read, except for the Revolutionary War ones. So Civil War stuff is a bit of a blind spot with me, so I'm going to try to correct it over the next few years. There's the bookshelf tour number 4. So thank you, BookTube.